Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the Zmann TRD CrawZ. Now this is a new bait for me and I'm pretty excited to try it. If you watched my video last week, you know I was throwing around the Zmann finesse worms on a Ned rig and I had a lot of success with those. One of the reasons I think I had so much success with those is that the primary food source for the smallmouth around here is crawdads. Now there are a lot of minnows in the creeks, but the minnows tend to stick to the shallows. They're not really in the deep holes, and I don't think the smallmouth can access them as easily where they're at. But there's crawdads under every rock you turn over. So that's why I think that these baits are really going to perform well. I went ahead and picked them up in 3 different colors. I've got the molting craw, which is orange on the bottom, dark back. This one is really close to the crawdads that are already in the creek. So is this one, the CrawZ craw. It's a little more natural colored, olive back, silver bottom, got some red and silver flake. And then I picked up the Delta green pumpkin, which is very red on the bottom with the dark back. And I think this one might pay off if the water's a little more murky after a rain. It tends to get real murky, and I'm hoping that red color will help it stand out a little bit. It hasn't been raining a whole lot, so the water should be pretty clear. So we'll see when I try them out. Now, I went ahead and shot some tank footage, so let's go take a look at that. So I went ahead and rigged up the molting craw color for this demonstration. I really feel like this color and possibly the CrawZ craw color are going to most closely match the crawdads that these fish are already feeding on, and I think that's important. You always want to match the hatch. I want the fish to see this as a food source, as something they normally eat. I don't want them to think twice about it. I just want them to come in and crush it. I went ahead and rigged it up on a 1/10 ounce jig weight, and that's typically what I've been throwing. The 1/10 ounce just seems to get down to the bottom faster. It doesn't drift as far in the current, and that's also very important. If I'm throwing to the backside of a rock or a boulder, and there's a little eddy there where I think some fish might be hanging out, I don't want it to drift down. I want it to just get in there, drop to the bottom, and stay there so that I can work it. And a lot of times I'll just throw in there and I'll just ever so slightly jiggle the rod tip and kind of hop this along just a little bit, and that's when I'll be getting my strikes. So this looks pretty good. It's standing straight up just like you want in that defensive posture. That's something the fish really key in on. When I work this, when I hop it, if I drag it, it comes straight back to that standing position. Even with the 1/10 ounce weight, it's got a pretty good fall. It's a little fast. Sometimes the fish will hit it on the fall, sometimes they don't. In my experience, a lot of times they'll come up and look at it when it first gets into that eddy. You give it a little jiggle, and that's all it takes, and they crush it. I think this lure is going to work out pretty good. Looks pretty nice, looks really natural. We're just going to have to give it a try to find out. These ended up being fantastic little baits. I'm really glad we tried them, and we ended up catching 80, 90 fish, everything from largemouth, smallmouth. We caught some warmouth. Tyler caught a suckerfish, which was pretty unbelievable. Let's see, what else? I think we caught some perch on them. Pretty much everything in the creek except for catfish. These things are super durable. Even these little claws, they look like they're barely attached, but they stay on. The fish aren't pulling them off. In fact, the only time I had a problem with the claws falling off was the water was a little murky, and I tried to use some of the Spike It Dip and Glow. Don't do that. They do not hold up. I guess the acetone in the Dip and Glow just kind of eats right through this material. I actually had one of the claws fall off straight into the jar, so just avoid that. Just use them like they are. They're a great little bait. If you haven't tried them, run out there, get yourself a bag, give them a shot. You won't be disappointed. And hey, if you guys want to see me review something, if there's something you want to see me put in a video, leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button.